I'm Michelle Beckham-Corbin, president of C3 Creating Connections Consulting, a social media marketing strategy firm.
And I'm Mark Macomber, president of Macomber Creations, and welcome to our first show of 2015. Happy New Year.
Digitally speaking. So welcome, Mark. It's great to be back in the old chair here,
Yes.
and happy to be part of 2015. Although we're so newly into 2015, it feels kind of weird saying that. But
yeah, I'm starting to get in the groove.
Are you getting into the groove?
I think so.
It'll take me probably about another couple of days.
Yeah.
So. But just wanted to remind viewers who are either viewing us on YouTube or on Warner Cable that our last show, show number 17, was on Instagram. And I have to say that was probably by far one of my most favorite shows, mostly because I personally learned a lot. So, but I think we did a really nice job with the show. We had a guest speaker, Stuart Kunkler, who is an expert with Instagram. And I think the beautiful thing about that show, Mark, was that we covered everything in terms of what is Instagram, but also how do you use it, how do you edit photos for Instagram, and I think really the piece that hit me the most was the community that can be formed. So Stuart shared with us that he actually goes on road trips with people that he's met online, and they go off and they take pictures of some really cool things like abandoned mines.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he was fascinating because he had such great imagery in all of the photography that he had done, and of course he shared that really great editing app with us, which I've played with quite a bit actually, and is a cool one. And what fascinates me the most about Instagram is the quantity of food that is photographed. And I have seen more culinary explorations on Instagram, and especially around Christmas and New Year's, which we just passed, that's amazing. I didn't know you could do things like that with food, or at least some of them anyway.
Well, and then for folks who are interested, the app is, for photo editing, is Snapseed. And the comment that I wanted to make, Mark, was I wonder how many diners have had cold meals just because, they're waiting to stage the food to get that perfect picture in.
Yeah, don't touch that pork chop yet. I got to get a shot of it,
Oh, gosh. Well, in any show that's beginning a new year kind of needs to talk about the past and the future. So I was hoping today that we could discuss a little bit about what we thought worked from a social media point of view for us personally, and then take a look at what some of the trends are that we can expect for 2015.
And that'll be interesting because it is still changing rapidly.
Yeah.
It really is.
So for you, Mark, what do you think, and I know you're involved in so many different endeavors, which piece of social media did you feel that you used the most in 2014?
Well, for me, it's still predominantly Facebook. However, I ventured quite a bit into Instagram. But I'm a little specific or discerning about what I still do on Instagram. I refuse to post food.
He just likes to look at the pictures.
No, I'm not even saying that I look at it. I don't post food, and I have yet, and I'm very proud to say this, ladies and gentlemen, that I have never posted a selfie, but that's just me. And everybody enjoys that, and I've seen some really great ones, and now they've got the selfie stick, and it's hilarious. But the selfie is being, elevated to a whole new level.
It's actually in the dictionary now.
Yeah,
as a word.
I can well imagine. But Facebook only for me because it's a platform that I'm pretty well familiar with, and I have several pages and my personal page, and it fits my needs really, really well. Otherwise, I'm off to LinkedIn or I'm off to some other things. Instagram is really a cool platform, and I do use that for certain things because every once in a while I'll take some cool little video about something. But 2015 is going to be a different year for me, though, because now as my projects have gotten to another point, we were kind of discussing this a little bit, I'm working on taking completely new directions with some things, and still trying to figure some of that out. But I will imagine that I'll still be predominantly on Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, and besides websites and other things, that's probably what my focus will be for 2015.
Well, and I know, you know, if you want to do a little blurb about what your project is, just for the viewers to understand, but before you do that, just to say that what your project is all about is so visual that a lot of the key visual media pieces are going to be so important for you for 2015.
Yes, and they will be. Well, I'm really excited to, and I've talked about this a little bit, and we've touched base on some of these topics in our past shows. Working on a production called Harvesting the Moment. My new endeavor is the Humanity Machine. It's an LLC, and it's a production company. But our production is a multimedia production, and it's a story. It's going to be released in book form. It's going to have an accompanying CD or soundtrack. Yet there's a retail line that goes along with it, because all of the characters that appear in the book, there's actually a retail component to it as well. So there's a whole, it's a complex marketing strategy to get this thing to go to launch, and much like any design work that we do, that often requires iteration after iteration and continuing to work on it and taking it through process and process and process till you get it. Much like the recording process, much like doing sound recordings, CDs. Now we're linking the whole thing together, so it's much kind of like designing, making a movie. Even though we're publishing it in book form, it'll have a backing soundtrack, and there's a pretty broad range spectrum to it. So very interesting how one endeavoring to do such a thing is going to market that. So for us, we're kind of just looking at different opportunities to be able to market the actual physical book, and then the retail line that accompanies it. So
because, you know, really, you're going to be marketing the whole brand, which is really an experience, right?
Yes.
So yeah, you've got that aspect of marketing the things that people can purchase, right? The actual products.
Yes.
But you really, because you're just this whole Renaissance man. There's a feeling and a thought process behind the whole project that's very universal. So it's almost like you're really marketing that as well.
It is a brand, and you're absolutely correct in the fact that rather than just marketing a product, we've taken on kind of a large project and saying that in doing so, there's a brand that accompanies the whole thing. So it's really brand first, product second, even though it came the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
The product was developed, and then the process morphed into the thing saying, well, this is ripe to start a brand that surrounds this. So we took a step back and re-looked at the whole thing again, and caught the branding up to the product. So now that it has, and we're really, really close to the launch of the actual physical product line, it's exciting. Yeah. Very exciting.
So visual stuff, and especially video, I think is going to be a key component for you guys. I have one really quick question with the project. Earlier in one of the shows, or maybe just we discussed personally, that you were thinking about filming a little bit of the background story as you were putting all of this together. Have you guys been doing that?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
And boy, we got great stuff because thanks to ACTV, we have basically two kind of parallel tracks going. One with the making of the Humanity Machine, which is video documentation over the last year of how this thing has morphed from day one. It is behind the scenes, and we've got great shots when we did our production at the Anderson Theater, which was kind of a prototype or a trial run, maiden voyage, if you will, of the storyline, where we worked out all the bugs and the sound and everything, and then walked away back to the drawing boards and were able to develop a bit further. But we've been documenting this all along, and it's as Andy has reminded me, we were filling the hard drives very quickly with files. So get those off of there and put them on your own hard drive and give me some space back. And so it's funny, but you know, we have lots of files of great video, and been working on some really great stuff. So we're really excited about it.
Well, see, and that's wonderful. And really what you're talking about, even though this is this project and it's close to your heart and passion, you're creating content. And so we heard a lot in 2014 the buzzwords content marketing. Content marketing is so key. And when you think about it, whether you're a brand or a company, you need to have something to share on these social media platforms. That's where the content comes in. And so actually, I know I'm kind of stepping ahead with trends, but one of the trends for 2015 is one where we're going to see more of the brands creating their own personal content instead instead of kind of 2014 curating content that would still kind of be related to a brand for a community, there's going to be more content coming from the brand, kind of what you're seeing here. So that sounds good. Sounds like you've got some good thoughts about, you know, how 2014 worked, and maybe some things that you might be hoping to make some changes for 2015.
Well, and as it relates to our entrepreneurial viewer audience, I think that one of the things that's interesting, and when we're talking about trends, and this may be not a trend toward technology per se, but it's the trend toward the marketplace being voracious for constant change and new input, new things to look at, and so the days of you know, having something that was almost static, if you will, people want to see things changing all the time. Instagram's a perfect example of that. Facebook's a perfect example of that. People are constantly changing profiles, constantly changing things. As the consumer, the person either looking at Facebook or buying product, whatever it is, they now want to see stuff all the time. If they see the same thing twice, it's too much.
Right.
They want to see it once, and they want to move on to the
Right.
next great plate of food that they can see.
Which actually gets us into, you know, again, one of the trends for 2015. If you look at Facebook, the news feed is becoming very cluttered. There's so much information. And so Facebook is really working hard to take all of our preferences and information that we've shared to really tailor the sponsored stories, the advertising that we actually see. And so one of the trends for 2015 is that the pay-to-play trend that started in 2014 is really going to become more pronounced.
Sure.
Whether you're talking about Facebook, whether you're talking about LinkedIn, or even Twitter, those in the platform advertising programs are going to be very key. And as a matter of fact, as of this month, January 2015, Facebook made some major changes so that if you are not paying for your advertising, you might as well say goodbye to your Facebook community, because they're really not going to be seeing your information. So that's a, you know, a big change.
It is.
I know for myself, I kind of did some experimentation for 2014, tried some new things, kind of let some things go just to see, you know, what kind of ROI I was going to get with my changes.
Sure.
And I have to say that one piece that I found very consistent for me personally and in the business that I have with social media marketing consulting was LinkedIn. I found my usage in LinkedIn went up. I mean, I've always been a pretty heavy LinkedIn user, but I kind of really sped that up. And then I fine-tuned some things. I made sure that a lot of the content that I was sharing on LinkedIn was set to public so that I would have a wider audience. And then LinkedIn actually also named me a LinkedIn publisher. Although I was so busy, I haven't had a chance to create content for that. But that's, you know, on the top of my list for 2015, because that's a wonderful opportunity, because it allows you to push content out just to the global LinkedIn audience. So, and so anyway, you know, like I said, I think for me, 2014 was a bit of experimentation, and I'm really interested to talk about some of the trends that 2015 is going to bring, to see if I want to play with any of those or not. So I see some. I'm going to be making some changes personally for my business on Facebook. I'm going to be kind of decreasing my use there, because I'm not really seeing a return for me on Facebook.
And for your business, probably.
Business.
Facebook is more a personal type of site. Probably works a little better for me, whereas LinkedIn, being in the professional world of marketing, et cetera, is a great opportunity, especially as someone who's been picked to provide content for them. It's the, you know, ask the expert, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Well, just because with the Facebook, since it really is going to move to a pay-to-play, you really have to examine your ROI.
Oh, sure.
Even if you're using something free, and look at what's your time investment, and are you really getting anything out of that time investment? So that's why Facebook is going to kind of, you know, I won't get rid of it completely, business page, but it's not going to become a major part of my marketing.
Interesting, we've talked about this before, but Marshall McLuhan, in his a book from a long time ago, Where the Medium Becomes the Message, the whole social media marketplace is again changing very dramatically, in the fact that it is gone from something that started out as a MySpace to Facebook now to Instagram and all the other apps and other avenues, LinkedIn, et cetera, is now settling into the place where now it's going to be really is a pay-to-play market.
Yeah.
However, on the other end, as you say, the return on investment, when it's really not an expensive advertising. I mean, you spend a lot of money on it, and you can probably get amazing results in broad, vast coverage for the dollar spent. I've never done any research on that myself because I wasn't ready to do that. But whereas in days gone past, you would pay to get television advertising or a magazine advertising, and it would rack up dollars. Your marketing budget would be a percentile of what your gross incomes would come in, and the formulary that you use to say, I've got to spend this much money to get my ROI on whatever product I'm marketing or service I'm marketing. So again, social media has given small business, large business, a really interesting access to such a broad, vast, international, if wanted, exposure.
Right, and you know, that's a good point, especially if you're looking at the past, and it really has given kind of an equal opportunity in the sandbox for small businesses. But I think what we're seeing in 2014 and definitely moving forward is that now we're in the situation where everybody realizes that everybody, you know, small businesses, et cetera, realize that they can get in and create these, but now we need to move into conversions, right? And so we all have these presences, but where is that financial return? Where are those conversions? Where are those call to actions coming into place? And so one of the trends for 2015 is moving to having that conversion, that purchase opportunity within the social media platform. So I know for myself, I used to always tell my clients to kind of look at social media as a wagon wheel with your website in the center, right? And you've got the spokes going out to Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, but you want all of those social sites to push to your call to action, whatever it is on your website. You know, run the 5K, buy 10 cases of Crest, whatever it is. And so the move is going to be, you know what? We may lose the person, we may lose converting them into a purchaser along that, you know, following the wagon wheel to the center. So let's see if we've already got them captured in our community. They're talking to us on Twitter or they're engaging with us on Facebook page.
Sign them up.
Sign them up right there. And so that's what we're going to see is that opportunity for people to be making those purchases, which means obviously that the platforms are going to have our information, right? So a lot of us use Amazon. We just got past the holidays. Very easy when your credit card information is stored in Amazon and you're hitting that one click, right, and sending it on. So we're going to see a lot more of that happening as well. I think one of the big trends, and we've been talking about it in 2014, is the visual media and how hot that is. And really specifically, it's the video. So Facebook, towards the end of 2014, made a change, and they basically said, this is kind of against YouTube, hey, if you upload your own video, so it's not a YouTube video, but your own video from your files, we're basically going to give that more play, meaning it's going to show up in newsfeed more than YouTube. And so, you know, because they recognize the power of video. So we're going to see, not that YouTube is going to go away because it still is very powerful medium, but just a data point, in 2014, Facebook surpassed YouTube in the number of video views via desktop, according to ComScore. So it's important to note that YouTube still has more views across all devices, but when you're looking at desktop, that's what happened in terms of Facebook. Because people are sitting on their desktop and they're looking at the singing cat videos. Or, and we were looking at this before the show started, Baby X, which hopefully I could...
My new favorite, Baby X.
Oh, Baby X is very cool. So if you didn't see anything, the inventor of Baby X actually did a TED Talk, but Baby X is using artificial intelligence, and you can interact with Baby X. Baby X looks like a real baby. It is a real baby, and you can, you know, throw a ball or do something to Baby X, and Baby X will actually react as if Baby X were real. So Talk about the next move from cyborgs, right?
My
But
goodness.
anyway, and we'll post that on the site too, so
She's
people
kind
can
of
watch
cute.
the
She's got
video.
little blue eyes and little
Yeah,
rosy
it's
cheeks.
cute
and
baby. Yeah, I think I believe she's from New Zealand.
New Zealand Baby X.
But there's a great TED talk about the whole process behind creating Baby X. So the other thing that I found really fascinating is SlideShare. And this is actually one piece of social media that I had not been using and then just started to implement it in probably the last quarter of 2014. And so Dave Kirpin, who is a social media, I hate to use the word guru, but well-known social media marketing guy out there, his quote is, "SlideShare will become the YouTube for business." So basically, SlideShare has just recently added video capabilities. Right now, people on LinkedIn have been sharing presentations, right? So if I go to UC and I speak to, which is actually a true story, their MBA, a couple of their MBA classes on digital branding, I can take my PowerPoint presentation and create a SlideShare so that they can later go and access it. And so, so LinkedIn gives you that ability to share the SlideShare presentations on your profile, et cetera. And so now you're going to have that ability to have the video component in it as well, which will be really good. The other thing, we're going to see a lot of technological changes in 2015. We're going to see more virtual reality stuff like the Oculus Rift, more AI, artificial intelligence like Baby X, and you know, with all of these changes and additions, I think for some people they're feeling that the world is becoming a little bit too big brotherish. So there's also a move towards people wanting a little bit more privacy. So we saw some things pop up and will continue to pop up in 2015. Social media apps such as Whisper, Secret, Yik Yak, and Facebook Rooms. Facebook actually started kind of a chat room type of a thing where you can go in and talk to people without having your Facebook profile attached to it, so anonymously. So Mark, you and I have been around the block long enough to know that there truly is no such thing as privacy and anonymity on the internet, but at least this gives people some feeling of a closed environment as compared to being out there like on Twitter or Google+.
Well, I've noticed it also a trend of recent that everybody's posting the new disclaimer to Facebook saying, hey, Facebook, you don't own my stuff and you can't license my stuff. And according to code 101.-1 on the penal code, you know, and Facebook replies and says, did you read the agreement you signed originally? You know, once you said okay to Facebook, you agreed to all our terms and conditions, and we are allowed to publish your things as we do, because they could give you a cute little end of the year movie and they do things and they might use your picture. Gosh, I don't know, they could sell my picture to somebody for some reason.
No, and I want to make sure just for viewing audiences that just check Snopes.com. It is not true. You don't need to post that. Facebook's not going to do any of that.
Yep.
But people feel that by posting that, they're somehow giving themselves some type of a protection. But it is a scam gone viral. You do not need to post that on your Facebook.
Yeah. And I suspected as much, but I thought it'd be a good topic. And so 2015 is going to scream by just almost as fast, if not faster, than 2014 with all this new stuff going on. Artificial intelligence has been something that I've had my eye on for 20-something years. I remember reading my first book, gosh, in the 80s about AI and being fascinated about it. And of course, with all the crazy stuff that I read, then we weren't far off. So it's interesting to see as this stuff, I have a feeling that there's a to the 10th power kind of thing that happens with this, that it's been happening for a while. It's just not out yet. It's just not there in the marketplace for us. I'll make the example of the commercial advertising a certain brand where the husband and wife are in their house and the robot who's dressed up in kind of a cleaning outfit like a maid comes, or it's a butler kind of guy comes in, and they go, hey, he's starting to get emotionally attached, isn't he? I'm going, well, I'd love a robot that cleaned my house, but you know, as long as they fed the cats and dusted real nicely and, you know, didn't develop their intelligence too quickly, so they're driving my car off, or you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, based on your interest, I bet you're going to go check out that Baby X video.
No, I'm going to, absolutely.
I figured.
But I think AI is tremendous, and given the fact where it could go and how it could help us with a lot of things, it would be amazing to see. That's the stock I'm keeping my eye on, as to how that's going to develop, so to speak.
Well, and you know, the one thing that I do want to remind people about is no matter how wonderful technology is and how much it makes our lives easier or crazier or whatever, there are still going to be instances when it fails, which is why I have paper. So usually I have my notes, and I can access them through Dropbox on my iPad, and my internet went out of my office, and I happen to have a printer that is on the network, and I couldn't print. So I had to actually convert my Word document to photos, and then move my photos over to the printer and print them as photos. So technology's great, but don't throw away the paper just yet.
Oh, I love paper. I've got boxes of it everywhere. Files and files and files of paper. I'm not a tree killer, but boy, can I produce paper when I want to. I've had to be really conscientious about that, because computers just give you a lot easier way to print things out and have good stuff and have it physically documented. So, well, we've got a really great year lined up. We're going to cover all kinds of really great topics in the upcoming episodes, and we were also talking about potentially, with some upcoming episodes, touching into some things that maybe didn't necessarily always relate to the physicality, the hardware, the hard pieces of social media platform, technology, etc. We're going to start to bring some subjects in that start talking about the sociological impact.
Right, the behavior aspect.
Exactly. And we're going to do that in some of these new episodes, ladies and gentlemen. So don't forget to stay tuned to ACTV and Digitally Speaking, and we're going to try to change some of our formats a little bit. Who knows, you might see some new set changes. You might see some really exciting things happening here at ACTV and Digitally Speaking. And so on behalf of Michelle and myself, we really like to thank everybody for tuning in for the last 17 episodes. And don't forget, you can see those on YouTube and or on the ACTV website. It's easy to access Digitally Speaking through that website. So thanks for joining us. As always, we're always going to come up with hot topics. If you want to communicate with us, please contact ACTV. And if you want to ask any questions, we're always happy to touch on the hottest topics.
And answer your questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So love to know what psychs you about social media.
So on behalf of Michelle and I, thank you very much. And we'll see you next time here at Digitally Speaking.